Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the class. So for today, we're going to have class 7, which we're going to build a map and include the map into our Android application. So before going into that, let's know about the map on Android first. So we're going to use the map from Google, which is a Google map. And the use of map, we make use of the Google Play service. So this is the Google Play service that we used earlier when we use the user location. So here, in order to set up the Google Play service, we're gonna follow the link over here, which we're gonna do later when we are building our map. And in order to use the map, we are using the Google Map, and this is a Google Map API for Android. So it's a Map API version 3, which is a lot better than the previous versions. So with the version 3, it provides, additional information about the map locations. It supports the user interaction. We can add the markers. We can add, some overlays onto the map. What we are going to be using, we're going to use a map fragment. We talked about fragment earlier. So a map that's going to be embedded into the application screen going to be something like a map fragment, and also the recent version, which is the upgraded version, we call this support map fragment. In order to use Google Map on Android application, the developer gonna need Google Map API key. So we will need to apply for like a Google developer account and ask for the Google Map API key in order to include the map in our Android application. So we're gonna do that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and include the map in our Android application. So this is going to be a workshop 7.1. So here we're going to start with setting up Google Play service that allows us to use the map support. So we're gonna visit what we visited earlier when we use the user location. So this is gonna be a developer.google.com. So it's gonna be a guideline for setting up Google Play service in Android application. So please go ahead and visit this link over here. So this is the link that we're gonna be using in order to set up our map. So scroll down, we're gonna look for the library for Google Maps on Android. So you can search for the maps, or you can, just scroll down like this in order to look for a map. And here we go. We found it. So this is our map API, right? So we're gonna copy this, and this is what we're gonna be included. What's gonna be included in our Gradle file in Android application. So now we have our maps library. So in our Android application project, so please open up the build.gradle file at the module level. So if you are in Android view, this is going to be in the Gradle scripts section, and we need the build.gradle for the module level. So go ahead and open this up. So this is going to be the file over here. So you can, place it anywhere you like, but I'm going to place it just below the library for the Google Play Services location. So I'm going to use this map API. So I paste it here. So as usual, when we edit our Gradle file, don't forget to sync project with Gradle. So click sync project with Gradle above here and wait for the project Gradle files to be synced. And then that should be good. So now you have the Google Play Service Map Library included in your Android application. In the next step, we're gonna apply for the Google Play, the Google Map API key. So in order to acquire your Google Map API key, you need to visit this link over here, the console.cloud.google.com. So go ahead and visit the link. So my link is over here, console.cloud.google.com. So in this Google Cloud Console, so you're gonna have your Google Cloud Console of your own, and that gonna might look different than mine because I have some projects already available in my Google Cloud Console. But anyway, we're gonna create a new project. So click at the down arrow over here and select new project. So for the new project, we're gonna use the project name. So name your project TNI dash WhatsApp and dash and followed by your student ID. But for myself, I'm gonna use 9999. So you can use your student ID if you like. So now we have the new project. So go ahead and create the project. And you're gonna wait for it to be created for some minutes. So it's gonna create your project for you. Wait for it to finish, and now it's finished. So when the time it's finished, you're gonna have your project somewhere over here, right? So you can select your project here, or you can select like a drop down list here and select your project. Now we are in on the dashboard of your project. So you can notice the project name on the top bar. So now we're gonna use the API and services because we're gonna enable our map service, right? Our Google Map service. So select the APIs and services, right? So select the one like this. So this is gonna be your API and services. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna enable the map service. So please select the button with the plus at the front, enable APIs and services. And now select Maps SDK for Android, the first option here, because we're gonna use it for Android. I think it seems like it's already enabled. So click to enable this API. So I click it to enable the API. Okay, so this should be good. So now I have the API enabled. So it's gonna be refreshing. And by default, it's gonna ask you to enable the billing for the project. But we're not gonna enable any billing for our project for now. So I'm just gonna cancel it. Okay, so now it's gonna redirect you to the Google Maps platform. But we're not gonna use this right now. We're just gonna go back to our console, our Google Cloud Console. So revisit the Google Cloud Console, the one that we visited. So I'm gonna type it here, console.cloud.google.com. So I'm gonna go back to my Google Cloud Console, and you should see your previous project selected, which is our WhatsApp project. So what we're gonna do next, we're gonna create the API key for the map. So from the menu, select the menu from the left-hand side and go to the API and services and go to credentials. Okay, So you could see that we don't have any credentials yet, either API keys or client ID or any account. So we're gonna create it right now. So on the top, click Create Credential and select API key. Now you got your API key created, and you can see that this key is unrestricted. So it means that it is an open key. So we like this for now because we just want to make sure that the key is working first before we restrict some conditions on the key. So I'm going to use this key. So copy it. Okay, copy the key. And I'm going to paste it here in Notepad. So this is going to be my API key. And we're going to use this later in our project. Now we're going to use the API key that we obtained in our Android application project. So in order to use the map, we're going to create a new maps activity. So in fact, the maps activity that we are creating is not needed in our application because in our WhatsApp application, we're not going to use new activity to place the map. However, it's going to be the easiest way to include all the setups for the maps in Android application. So by creating maps activity that is the default one in Android, the Android application project's gonna set up other things, other setups that support for the maps in the Android application as well. So because to get the map set up for the whole application, so we're going to create the default maps activity on Android and let Android Studio setting up other things in the application project for us. So we're going to create the maps activity in our Android Studio. So we're going to create a maps activity. Go to our application project. So that's in app, Java, and our application package is org.classapp.whatsapp. So we're gonna create a new maps activity in here. Do a right click, go to new, and then go to Google, new, and Google is over here, and Google Maps activity. Click it, and we're not going to use this activity anyway. We just create the maps activity to allow Android Studio to set up all the maps tools, map setup in the application project for us. So we're going to leave things as default because we're not going to, to make it like the slides that I gave to you. In the slides, I named the layout file to be maps underscore layout. So I'm just gonna rename this to be just like in the slide. So now we have the activity name maps activity, the layout file for the activity maps underscore layout. Package name is org.classapp.whatsapp and the language gonna be Kotlin. So click finish and let Android Studio create the new activities and set up the map into the application project. So wait for a little bit. Okay, so it's gonna do all the setup as well. So this is what we want because we don't want to do it manually. Okay, I think it's gonna be done soon. Okay. So now for now, we're gonna observe that we have the maps activity created here, right? And the layout file for the maps activity is in, as usual, res layout, and we just name it maps underscore layout. So you can try double clicking it, right? So this is gonna be a full map on the screen, which is not what we want, but anyway, Okay, I'm just gonna close other files. So this is gonna be a layout if you look at the code, right? So it's gonna be the fragment that occupy the entire application screen layout, which is not really what we want, but it doesn't matter because we're not gonna use this one anyway. I'll just try to get it rendered. I'm not sure it can render this well for us. Okay, it doesn't show, but that doesn't matter because we're not going to use this anyway. So it's just going to be a screen that got the map fragment that occupies the entire screen. When the maps activity is created, the Android Studio have modified the Android manifest.xml for us. So please open up Android manifest.xml. So in Android manifest.xml, Android Studio have added this metadata into Android manifest.xml. And this is the metadata uh, to allow us to place our API key. So we're gonna place our API key here, which is the API key we obtained earlier from the Google Cloud Service, from the Google Cloud Console. So copy your API key and paste it here. Okay, done. Now you got your API key ready, and this is gonna be the API key for the map that you're gonna be using in your Android application. So where we gonna use the map in our Android application? I'm gonna go back to the slide. We're gonna use the map in the near me fragment, which is the fragment that we already have our user locations show. So what we're gonna do in the near me fragment, we're gonna place the map fragment over here at the bottom of the page here, at the bottom of the screen, where it is a blank space. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna copy the map fragment from our maps underscore layout.xml and paste into the near me fragment. And the layout file for the near me fragment is fragment underscore near underscore me dot xml. So let's observe our fragment, near me fragment first. This is where we're gonna use our map to get embedded here in our near me fragment. So open up your near me fragment, that is fragment underscore near underscore me. Okay, so this is our near me fragment. So as I said earlier, it has some blank space below, right? So what we want the map fragment to be placed here, right? And the map fragment is included in the maps underscore layout.xml, which I have a problem rendering it at the moment, but I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm just gonna go to the code view, and the fragment, which is the place where the map is displayed, is in the code over here. When I do copy and paste, I normally do it in the code view because it is easiest to do so. So I'm gonna copy this fragment here. Okay, go ahead, copy it, and I'm gonna paste it in my fragment underscore near underscore me. I'm gonna paste it like below other components in my in the near me fragment. So go to the code view, scroll it down to the very bottom, before the end of the layout for the fragment near me. Paste it. Okay, so now I have the map fragment below every other components on the near me fragment layout file. I want you to observe this just a little bit. This is the characteristics, or this is the properties of the XML file. XML file have something we call XML namespace. So in the near me fragment, right? If you go to near me fragment, so we're gonna have a declaration of XML namespace, which is shortened as XML-NS, at the most parent of the XML file. In this case, for the near me fragment, the topmost parent is the constraint layout. So you can observe that in the near me fragment, we have the XML namespace declared in the constraint layout tag. What about the maps layout? Observing the maps layout just a little bit. In the maps layout, the topmost element is the fragment, and it has the XML namespace declared here as well, right? However, when we copy this fragment and paste it down here in the near me fragment, this fragment is no longer the topmost element, right? It's not the topmost element anymore. So it doesn't need the XML namespace. So I'm gonna delete it. So this is just to make the correct syntax for the XML. So now this is my fragment underscore near underscore me dot XML, which is the layout for the near me fragment. Try switching back to the design view. I think I have problem rendering with the map fragment, but it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna try two things. First, I'm just gonna try to clean and rebuild everything. Hopefully it can give me the chance to render my layout for me. And I might end up, closing my Android Studio and reopen my Android Studio. Hopefully my map fragment can be rendered by my Android Studio. Now it's finished with the Gradle building. I'll try again. It might or it might not work. If it doesn't work, I will trick it just a little bit. Okay, so it seems like my Android Studio doesn't want to render the near me fragment for me. I will try to trick it just a little bit. Sometimes it works. So I'm just gonna open up. Okay, so this is the one that is working. So this is my activity underscore main because it doesn't contain any map. So it works. Okay, so my main activity underscore main is working. Sometimes I do this. I'll open up the layout that is working, and then I will try open up the layout that doesn't work. Okay, I'll try again. This whether it works. Okay, so this one is working. Okay, now it comes. Sometimes it works, sometimes I just need to trick it by switching it to open up the layout file that actually can display the preview and switch it back to the one that doesn't display the preview, and sometimes it's worked. So you could see that I keep switching it. And the view that normally could work is the blueprint view, the blueprint just like this. So now I got my fragment underscore near underscore me in the blueprint view, which I can still work with. So if you could see that in the blueprint view, and I will click my map. So that is the map that I copy from the map layout file, right? From this maps underscore layout. So it is a full screen layout, right? It's a full screen map, which I don't want. I want it to be below, right? I want it to be below the launch.txt. So what I will do, I will arrange this just a little bit. But before doing that, I will change the ID of this map fragment from just map, because the ID map has been used by the layout maps underscore layout, right? The one that is the source that we copy the map fragment into our near me fragment. So to prevent from having the same name, I will change the ID of the map fragment in the fragment underscore near underscore me. And in my slide, I think I name it map near me. So I'm going to use the same name as I say on the slide. So it's going to be map near me. Okay, so refactor. Now I have changed the ID to map near me, and I have problem with rendering again. I just hate this. Okay, now it comes. Okay, so what I did earlier, I just switch to the screen that is working and switch back in the blueprint view, and it comes back working. So this is a bug in Android Studio. I know it's annoying. So what I will do, I will create the constraint. I'll select my map near me, right? And for its top constraint, I will put it under the launch.txt like this. Okay, I need to keep switching back and forth. All right. I hate this, so keep switching back and forth. So I will change the layout height from match parent to match constraint. It keep doing this to me. Now it matched the layout, right? So the top of the map near me matches the bottom of the launch.txt. That's it. And I will get the gap to be 8. Okay, I'll keep switching back from to the layout that is working, and the layout just to trick it just a bit. What about the bottom? I want the bottom of my map near me to the bottom of the screen. So to make it easier, I just gonna click create the constraint just like this. And this is gonna be 0, I'll say 8 from the bottom. And just to refresh, I switch to the screen, to the layout that the preview is working, and switch back. Okay, so this is good, right? So my map is below launch.txt like this. And I add this to the left, and I add this to the right to be 0 from the left and 0 from the right, so that it's fine. Again, I'll trick it again by switching to the layout file that the preview is working, and switch back. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so now I got my map near me, right? That is below lawn.txt, which occupies the empty space of the near me fragment. So this is good. Now I will try running my near me fragment in the emulator. So I'll start my emulator and run the application. Okay, waiting for it to install and launch. Okay, now username is Android, password is Google, enter. Here we go. My map is working. So I have put my map, right below the lawn.txt here, and it occupies the empty space of the near me fragment. So good, now my map is working.